Good evening, Patriots, and welcome to another edition of the Douglas Ducote Show. You had many places to be tonight, but you chose to be here with me, and for that, I am forever grateful. Thank you very, very much. So we are off to a new week, and off to a lot of new controversies and a lot of things happening across America and across the globe, for that matter, that make you wake up every day and go, what the hell just happened? There are so many times that I go to sleep at night and I think to myself, damn, it can't get any worse than it did today. Good thing tomorrow's coming. And then I wake up the next morning and turn on my alerts to my phone and go, what the hell? What was I thinking? Because it never fails. There's always something. And it just continues. It's like a slow train bound to the depths of hell that we're watching, especially with this current administration. Let's get right into tonight's lead story. The investigation to the Biden's business dealings is heating up as House Republicans continue to dig into the family's very concerning patterns. Representative James Comer, chairman of the House Oversight Committee that's spearheading the investigation into the Biden family, revealed the findings that are surfacing in the probe. I think we've established a pattern that Joe Biden has been communicating with every single person that was wired money in the family, millions and millions of dollars. We have uncovered a pattern that they were selling the brand. Basically, since the Bidens don't own any companies, what they were doing was these Chinese business partners of Hunter's and Ukrainian business partners of Hunter's, who, by the way, has no background whatsoever in doing anything with any energy companies that he was supposedly on the board of, they were paying hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars for the sole access to the vice president of the United States at the time was Joe Biden. It was a pay-to-play scheme. There's no buying businesses when the media says Hunter Biden and Joe Biden owned an energy company. They didn't own an energy company. They owned an influence peddling scheme. That's all it is. Last Friday, Biden announced that the U.S. will impose more than 500 new sanctions on Russia as a result of Vladimir Putin's invasion of Ukraine. However, it has since been revealed that two of the Russians linked to Hunter Biden and his business dealings were spared the president's decision. Their names are Elena Baturny and Vladimir, and I don't even know how to pronounce this, so I'm not even going to attempt it. Just say Vladimir Putin wannabe 2. In August, the committee provided screenshots of bank records they say demonstrated that Baturny, the widow of former Moscow mayor, wired $3.5 million to Rosemont Seneca Thornton on February 14th of 2014. Hunter Biden's longtime business partner, David Archer, confirmed the payment during his latest House testimony. That sanctions looks like a policy decision that Joe Biden made in return for millions of dollars that his family received from an adversary, Comer said. He continued, calling the act very concerning as it highlighted the firm evidence that the Bidens took millions of dollars from a shady character in Russia and as a result failed to put sanctions on these particular Russians because they were business partners with Hunter. Comer argued that the Bidens had failed to say one single thing they did to receive that money. As the committee continues to find new accounts from Joe Biden every day that they're subpoenaing bank records. At the end of the day, we know the Bidens have taken over $20 million from our adversaries around the world, he stressed. The House Oversight leader continued to analyze the investigation's findings further, suggesting that the Biden family was getting paid to help China, the country's greatest adversary. I've never seen such hypocrisy on anything in politics, Comer claimed. What the Bidens are trying to say to please their left-wing liberal base and what they're trying to do in the private sector to profit from Chinese Communist Party is daylight and dark. One of the things America needs to understand about the deal with China was that China was going to pay the Bidens. They paid Hunter Biden millions of dollars for this access from his father. And they expected Joe Biden to be a 10% owner. He was to implement the Belt and Road Initiative in the United States, take over American energy, take over American manufacturing, buy American farmland, all of this by this Chinese company. That's what we're trying to get China not to do in the United States every day. As the committee continues to unravel the web of the Biden family past business deals, Comer said the intelligence community has been a major and constant player in the cover-up for the Biden crimes. He voices frustration over the accountability the Bidens seem to evade, saying that he has zero confidence in the country's intelligence community. What we found is this investigation over the past 7 or 8 years, the Biden family has been investigated by the FBI, by the Department of Justice, by the IRS, by the Securities and Exchange Commission. The list goes on and on of government agencies that have investigated the family for fraud, for financial crimes, he said. All I'm trying to do is get the truth to the American people, he said. I think the American people deserve the truth, and that they've been given the truth by the mainstream media, by our government agencies, would be a lie. More to come as we get closer and closer to election as to where this is headed. The Houston, Texas Police Department has suspended over 260,000 criminal cases over the past 8 years due to the department's lack of personnel, Houston Police Chief Troy Feiner said yesterday. Think about that for a moment. The Houston, Texas Police Department just tossed out 260,000 criminal cases because they don't have manpower, because defund the police has affected them drastically. Chief Feiner initially revealed last week that the lack of personnel administratively suspended 4,017 cases of alleged sexual assault, but a closer examination of the department identified that this expanded to all other divisions of the department. Across the department, about 264,000 incident reports were suspended, or about 10% of the 2.8 million incidents reported filed with the Houston Police Department over the past 8 years. Of the 264,000 reports, the chief said about 100,000 of those were property crimes. Chief Hunter said the police are stepping up efforts to review sexual assault incident reports and contact potential victims, and are moving additional personnel to other investigative divisions to address any incident reporting involved crimes against another person. Chief Hunter said last week that he first became aware that a lack of manpower is suspending some sexual assault cases. Am I proud of this? No, I'm angry. Okay, because we know we can do better, and we're going to make it better. And we will fight to get it right. Chief Hunter told reporters at a press conference, adding that the department is still short of staff regardless. Following yesterday's revelation, Houston Mayor John Whitmer expressed his concern about the investigation of the department's backlogging cases. He said, I'm very concerned. It's unacceptable. And I've instructed Chief Hunter to transparent and continue his review as top priority, the mayor said. Public safety continues to be the highest priority. And this, my friends, is what happens when liberal Democrats take control of any city in America and start defunding the police. You end up in a situation where over 260,000 criminal cases are tossed. You may have all seen the disturbing videos that have been circulating all over the internet here recently about the U.S. Airmen who set himself on fire. A United States Air Force member died after igniting himself on fire outside the Israeli embassy in Washington, D.C. this past Sunday in protest of the war between Israel and Hamas. The airman claimed Israel was committing genocide in the Middle East. According to Fox News Washington, D.C., police officials confirmed yesterday that Aaron Bushnell, a 25-year-old U.S. airman, the United States Air Force, died after setting himself on fire outside of the Israeli embassy. And Ann Stickfink, a U.S. Air Force spokesperson, told Fox News, "I can confirm an active duty airman was involved in today's incident." Bushnell's LinkedIn page shows the airman was hoping to transition out of the U.S. Air Force to pursue software engineering. A friend of Bushnell's told SMB 13 that the U.S. airman spent a considerable amount of time living his anarchist principles and putting them into action. Bushnell's act to protest against the United States' support for Israel's war against Hamas was live streamed Sunday on on Twitch, under the username Little Anna Kitty, according to the Post Millennial. While the original video has been removed, a video of Bushnell's protest was posted on X, formerly Twitter. Plus, you can see it all over YouTube. The actual, when he starts burning, they blur that out, but you can see everything else up to it. The video shows Bushnell walking to the Israel embassy in Washington, D.C. prior to setting himself on fire. He says, "My name is Aaron Bushnell. I'm an active duty member of the U.S. Air Force and will no longer be complicit in genocide. I'm about to engage in extreme act of protest, but compared to what people have been experiencing in Palestine at the hands of their coloners, it's not extreme at all." After explaining the reasoning behind his extreme act of protest, he can then be seen pouring gasoline across his head and his clothes and lighting himself on fire while shouting, "Free Palestine," before screaming in pain and falling to the ground. Multiple Secret Service agents and law enforcement officers attempted to suppress the flames and rescue him. However, the U.S. airman died of his injuries after being transported to a local hospital. Following Sunday's incident in front of the Israeli embassy, Secret Service spokesman told the Daily Mail the U.S. Secret Service Uniform Division responded to the 3400 block of International Drive, Northwest D.C., regarding an individual who was experiencing a possible mental health emergency. The Daily Mail also reported that the Metro Police Department's explosive ordnance team responded to the incident Sunday after receiving a report of a suspicious vehicle linked to Bushnell. According to the Daily Mail, the Israeli embassy released a statement Sunday explaining that none of the embassy staff members were injured in Sunday's incident. You know, I'm just going to, to his family, I am deeply sorry that your son chose to do what he did. I don't know the man. He served his country. I guess he served with honor. I don't even know that. I do know that what we're doing, America's doing with Israel, is defeating Hamas terrorists. That's what we're doing. Are innocent people being killed in the process? They are. You name any war ever conducted on planet Earth, and you'll see the same thing is going to happen. It's impossible for militaries to fight militaries and not have collateral damage. It just can't be done. America has done it every war we've ever been in. So is Israel. So are the terrorists that don't care. In fact, they want to hurt and kill civilians. That's what this is all about. They attacked Israel and killed and raped women and children, kidnapped them. In all conflicts, sadly, when bombs are being sent to blow up and kill the enemy, there are going to be civilian casualties, especially in a situation like this where these Hamas terrorists are hiding within mosques and schools and hospitals and places where the civilian population is. They're cowards. That's what they are. Hamas is a terrorist organization. And sadly, their son chose Hamas over Israel. It reminds me of another U.S. military terrorist sympathizer by the name of Major Nadel Hassan, who turned on his own troops at Fort Hood, Texas in 2009. He killed 13 service members and wounded 30 others in a protest to Americans' involvement in the Middle East. Again, my condolences to the family. I don't know what else to say. Your son, for whatever reason, chose to take his life in support of Hamas terrorists, and that's pretty sad. Speaking of something that's pretty sad, and I keep bringing reports to you about shit like this with the FBI over and over and over again. A newly released video shows the FBI raiding the home of a U.S. Marine veteran that they're charged in connection with the January 6th Capitol Hill protest. During the raid, the FBI forced the veteran's pregnant wife and 4-year-old child to stand outside in 12-degree weather. On Friday, the U.S. Attorney Office for the District of Columbia published a press release announcing the 50-year-old Chris Kaheen had been sentenced for his participation in the swarming of the Capitol on January 6, 2021. The veteran had served 22 years honorably in the United States Marine Corps. He was sentenced by U.S. District Judge Timothy Kill to prison for 75 days, followed by 2 years of probation, including a 60-day period of home detention, the press release stated. He pleaded guilty to 1 count of obstruction of law enforcement during a civil disorder, a felony. The Gateway Pundit reported that while he participated in the events on Capitol Hill, the veteran did not cause harm or damage anything during the storming of the Capitol. In fact, the Capitol Police, even in his defense, claimed that he actually prevented the theft of government property, people trying to take stuff out of the Capitol. He helped pick up trash. He encouraged protesters to leave the building, and he asked Capitol Police how he could assist them. Gateway Pundit also claimed that the FBI operative who was embedded in the Kansas City Proud Boys group set him up prior to the events of January 6th by encouraging him to go inside the building. According to the Gateway Pundit, the FBI raided the veteran's home in the morning of February 11th, 2021. Annette, his wife, explained that FBI ordered the veteran to exit his house immediately. Our 4-year-old was awakened from the chaos. I picked him up and I went downstairs to open the front door. Our house, street, and neighboring streets were completely surrounded by armed FBI and law enforcement. It was a scene that we see so many times in the movies, but now it was here at our house, the veteran's wife said. She explained that police vehicles were parked all throughout the family's community and that 3 armored vehicles surrounded the family's home. I'll open the door, and for a second, I didn't realize that there was about 20 FBI SWAT team members with automatic rifles pointed at me and my son. We were covered with bright red laser-pointed dots on our face, our chest, and various points of our bodies when I opened the door. Annette was also pregnant with their next child as she was standing there holding their 4-year-old and forced to stand outside in the 12-degree Kansas weather during the armed FBI raid. Annette can be seen in the video barefoot. They didn't even let her put shoes on. She held her child as agents entered the home. The Gateway Pundit reported that she also then miscarried that baby the following day. That is a horrible story that proves without a doubt that once again, when Republicans take back the White House, one of the top priorities needs to be to reorganize the FBI and their Nazi-style raids that must be done away with forever. And every damn person in a leadership position at every field office, all the way up to the Washington, D.C. headquarters for the FBI, needs to be fired. Every damn one of them. And never allowed to work in law enforcement again. The leadership of our Federal Bureau of Investigation are a bunch of cowards that are a disgrace to all law enforcement officers. And if you don't believe me, you're not paying attention to what I've been reporting on, and so many others have as well. And if you don't believe me, you don't know FBI agents like I do that will tell you off the record that their leadership is run amok, doing whatever the fuck they want. And either they follow these orders or they're fired. That has to be changed. Former President Donald Trump's son spoke out yesterday against the radical haters on the left after receiving a letter that contained a death threat and mysterious white powdery substance at his home in Florida. Daily Caller reported yesterday that it obtained photos of a letter sent to Donald Trump Jr., which stated, again, how many lives will be ruined before the psychopathic Donald is silenced? After repeatedly bashing the Trump family, the letter concluded, it's time for Mary to hear that Donald and his family have gone up in smoke when the Trump plane dives into the Atlantic Ocean. The letter, which contained a mysterious white powder, resulted in firefighters and hazmat units being dispatched to Trump Jr.'s home in Florida. Henry Rogers, the Daily Caller's chief national correspondent, shared a picture of the hazmat team that was called to Trump Jr.'s home in a post on X, formerly Twitter. Former president's son told the Daily Caller that the hostilities and death threats against the Trump family have become a little too bit commonplace. Clearly, he said, if this was happening to a prominent Democrat, it wouldn't be tolerated and would drive news coverage for weeks. The media would blame all Republicans and force them to answer for it. But since it's me, radical haters on the left will largely get a free pass and the media will barely flinch, Donald Trump Jr. said. It doesn't matter what your politics are, this type of crap is unacceptable. Trump Jr. told the Daily Caller that Monday incident was the second time an envelope with white powder has been sent to his home. First incident occurred during the Trump administration. Trump Jr. said that the first discovery of white powder occurred when his former wife opened an envelope with his children present. It's just sad that we live in a society where politics and the left's hatred of my father would drive people to do such crazy things. But that's where we are, unfortunately, Trump Jr. stated. Andrew Sabring, a Trump Jr. spokesperson, told the Daily Caller that the test results of the mysterious white powder were inconclusive. However, he noted that officials did not believe the substance was deadly. In a statement to MXM News, Trump Jr. claimed that if a high-profile Democrat received the same treatment, Congress would hold official hearings. But since this is a former president's son, mainstream media would be quick to move past the story. Since my last name is Trump, the media will move on the next day, he said. The hatred of the left has for my family has no bounds. Sadly, I don't recall the mainstream media, Fox, CNN, MSNBC, ABC, CBS, NBC, none of them covering this story at all. I only got the story because it was on AmericanMilitaryNews.com on page 6. The suspect charged with the murder of a 22-year-old Augusta University nursing student has reportedly been confirmed as an illegal immigrant who came to the United States from Venezuela. Thanks to Joe Biden, his incompetent administration, another family joins the ranks of angel families, which are families that lost their child to an illegal alien. So good job, Joe. You killed another child. You happy yet? Although CNN and MSNBC continue to say there's no proof that this murder is tied to our current border crisis. Although Immigrations and Customs Enforcement, aka ICE, and the Department of Homeland Security, aka DHS, have confirmed that the suspect, 26-year-old Anthony Labera, entered the United States illegally September of 2022. CNN and MSNBC, you might want to reach out to the people that are responsible down there on the border that are trying to stop this shit. They said that the Venezuelan national was encountered by law enforcement at the southern border in El Paso, Texas, and released into the U.S. on parole per the Biden administration policies. According to the Daily Wire, University of Georgia Police Chief Jeffrey Clark told reporters that this man had been charged with malice murder, felony murder, aggravated battery, aggravated assault, false imprisonment, kidnapping, hindering a 911 call, and concealing the death of another in connection with the murder of Laken Riley, Augusta University nursing student who was found dead Thursday at the University of Georgia. ICE confirmed that he had illegally entered the United States in September 2022, had been arrested in New York City a year later, August of 2023. After his arrest last August, he was charged with acting in a manner to injure a child less than 17, and a motor vehicle license was revoked. I don't even know how he got one to start with. Clark told reporters at a press conference that he was arrested for kidnapping and murder of Riley. He explained he was not a student at the university and was not even a U.S. citizen, adding that he had no known connection to Riley prior to murdering her. He did not know her at all. I think this is a crime opportunity where he saw an individual and bad things happen, Clark said. The police chief confirmed that Riley's death was caused by blunt force trauma to her head. New York Post reported that Riley was discovered with visible injuries in a wooden space near Lake Edric at roughly 12:38 p.m. last Thursday. Jose Ilbrick, 29, the brother, who also is an illegal immigrant, was charged Friday with possession of a fraudulent green card. Go figure. Diego Labrega is his name, could face up to 10 years in prison if he's convicted based on criminal complaint. But trust me, if Joe Biden is reelected, him and his murderous brother will be set free to roam our country and hurt more people. I've been warning about the U.S. military recruitment problem for 3+ years now. And it keeps getting worse with little care under this current commander-in-chief. They're just doing everything in their power to make our military as unattractive as they possibly can by allowing drag queen shows on the NCO club and officers clubs. You know, the Navy to recruit more drag queens, had a Navy sailor that's a drag queen on the weekends, an active duty Navy sailor, do a video, a recruitment video for them to get more people from that community to join the Navy. You couldn't make this sick shit up if you tried. And the young adults of America saw what happened with Afghanistan. They saw this horrible surrender to the people that are responsible for attacking us on 9/11. Of course, that was way before their time, but they've heard the stories from their parents and grandparents. And then they watch this administration just walk the fuck away and even get more people killed and then leave people behind. Left Americans there with no plan to get them out. So why would the youth want to join this military? Why? Nobody in their right mind would want to join today's military under this commander-in-chief, who doesn't even know he's the commander-in-chief, for crying out loud. He is the poster child for what dementia is. And they allow him to continue. Well, now it's gotten so bad that the United States Army has decided to reduce the size of its force by roughly 24,000 troops as the military service continues to struggle to meet recruitment goals. According to a new document on the structural transformation of the U.S. Army, the decrease in size of the military service is intended to position the Army to be better equipped to fight future wars. While the document outlined multiple ways the Army is planning to invest in restructuring of the force, it claimed that force reduction were necessary. And that, by the way, is a bullshit lie. While making these investments and adding formations, the Army must also reduce force structure to protect readiness in light of decreasing end strength. The Army stated, the Army is currently significantly overstructured, meaning there are not enough soldiers to fill out existing units and organizations. A considerable portion of the jobs that will be eliminated by the Army were counterinsurgency positions that increased during the Iraq War and Afghanistan War. The Army noted that most of the positions are already empty, that the Army is not asking current soldiers to leave. The Army added, as the Army builds back in strength over the next few years, read between the lines, that means when a Republican takes back Washington, D.C., most installations will likely see an increase in the number of soldiers actually stationed in bases across America. The Army's plan includes the reduction of approximately 10,000 positions connected with counterinsurgency operations, 2,700 positions from units that are not regularly deployed. I don't know who the hell that could possibly be. And 6,500 additional posts and training positions. Yeah, I guess you don't need 6,500 drill instructors if you don't have people joining to train. Additionally, roughly 10,000 positions from cavalry squadrons, security force assistant brigades, infantry brigade combat teams, and striker brigade combat teams will be cut. They're gutting our military. This administration is gutting our military. On the other hand, the Army plan also announced the addition of 7,500 troops to critical operations such as counter-drone units, air defense units, and 5 new task forces. Yet today's youth is not jumping at the opportunity to serve at all. So good luck with the 7,500. The Army's plan to reduce the size of its military force comes amid persistent recruitment challenges that have resulted in the Army missing its recruiting goals over the past 2 years. The Department of Defense previously reported that the Army, the Navy, and the Air Force fell short of their recruitment goals for fiscal year 2023, which ended in September. While the Army gained over 50,000 recruits, it fell short of the goal of 65,000 new recruits. According to the Associated Press, the Army also missed its fiscal year 2022 recruitment goal by roughly 15,000 troops. The Army announced that while the current structure of the military service is designed to have 494,000 soldiers, the total number of active duty soldiers is currently 445,000. Based on the restructuring plan, the Army is striving to achieve a goal of 470,000 active duty troops by fiscal year 2029 just to survive. And if another Democrat gets into office in November, well, you can just kiss that shit goodbye. It's amazing how in just one administration our military forces can be destroyed from within. So the Joe Biden administration has put a target on the backs of our men and women in law enforcement. Saw to it, Democrats all over the country and members of Congress, that is, Democrat-run cities, defunding the police, rampant crime everywhere, to include D.C. Pick a metropolitan city in this country. Pick one that's got a Democrat mayor who elects a Democrat police chief, who has Democrat city council members. And that's where you will find your Antifa, your BLM, your looting, your burning, destruction of property, black on black crime, black youth shooting black youth in the streets. That's where you'll find the worst of the worst. And they blame it on Republicans, because enough Republicans are speaking out and telling the truth about the real Democrat Party. Hasn't really changed. You know, they're the party that founded the KKK and were against, they wanted to keep everybody segregated. They all voted against freeing the slaves. And they claim, because of restructuring, it all switched around. It's the Republicans. Well, here's the proof that that's not true. Pick any major metropolitan city in America run by Democrats, and there you go. There it is. It's in black and white for you, with color mixed in, for crying out loud. The Democrats have not changed anything. They're the people that propped up the death, destruction through Planned Parenthood of the black race, that killed black babies. That's what it was for. And they're still funding it today. They're okay with that. The Democrats don't give a damn about African Americans. Never have. Not back when Lincoln was the president, and not with Joe Biden as the president. You can look right here on any of your social media platforms, whether it's Rumble or YouTube or any of them. Look back at Joe Biden's speeches as a member of Congress. And if you walk away from watching those videos and don't think he's a racist bigot, then you're mentally not there. It's really sad what we have become. And as we get closer and closer to this November, it's more and more important that you reach out to your loved ones, your family members, your friends, and to total strangers by sharing videos that I produce and videos that other Republicans and conservatives produce across the different platforms. And let them see the truth. Let them do their own homework. I mean, we're sharing all the knowledge they need. Now all they need to do is follow up on what we're saying and see for it themselves. You know, we're not going to change them all. We're not going to get all these liberal Democrats to jump on board. But guess what? If we get one out of 100,000, that's better than none. And then their friends will look at them like, what the hell? And maybe they can start sharing it and start spreading it. And eventually we can root this evil out of our society of liberal Democrats. Those of you that have been following me through the years, you know that I used to be a Democrat. I was a very, very proud member of the Democrat Party until it was hijacked by the liberals. And in the 80s, I switched parties when I realized that this is the party of racist bigots that don't like America. And it's never been more obvious than it is today. Sadly, it's on full display. And so many people have their heads buried in the sand, not paying any attention to what's happening in the news. And so many people say, oh, well, it doesn't matter. I can't change anything. There's nothing I can do. My vote doesn't count. Or I gave up because nothing's going to change. Well, nothing's going to change with that attitude. You're right. I will go down screaming. Don't know when that day will be. But if it's tomorrow or if it's when I'm 99 years old, I will be putting out the conservative message. I'll be telling the youth how great America used to be if it doesn't get better. My friends, you had many places to be tonight. You chose to be here with me, and for that I am forever grateful. Please subscribe to the channel. Please share it with your friends and family. I'm going to take off tomorrow and head down to Florida, go spend some time on the beach. I will be back in time to do the show, if not here, do it live from Florida if I decide to stay longer. But I don't know what time we're going to do the show on Thursday yet, if we do it before or after Hannity's program, because Sean Hannity comes on at the same time I do, and he's going to be live from the border with Donald Trump. And I don't want y'all to miss that. I want you to tune in and watch that. So I will either do the program an hour prior, so it's 7 o'clock Central Time, or 9 o'clock Central Time, all depending on where I'm at that point. Whether I'm still down in Florida or if I've come back here to my studio. Either way, going to go put my feet in the sand and enjoy a cocktail or two. While the weather's still decent down there, because it's going to change here for a little bit for a while. Anyhow, please say a prayer for our men and women serving in the United States military, our veterans, our law enforcement officers, our first responders and their families, our angel families, our blue and gold star families, and our country. May God bless the United States of America. May God bless each and every one of you. Thank you all for tuning in tonight. Have a wonderful and blessed evening, and have a wonderful rest of your week. God bless.